Hey guys, welcome back to the Girlfriends and Goals podcast. My name is Samaria, and I'm joined by my best friend and co host.
Miosha.
And today we are reviewing Love is Blind Ohio, episodes 7 through 9. So if you're watching this season, make sure you meet us in the comments and let us know
Hmm.
your thoughts about the couples. Also, please like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. All right,
All right.
so we'll pick it right up from episode 7 because I feel like we have a lot of material to cover in today's class.
Hmm.
So Brittany and Devontae, uh, I'll let you start because
All right. So we're still at the honeymoon, and Brittany is talking to the producer, saying that she feels like he should have just went home when he got the news that his grandfather passed. What do you, did you give much thought to the fact that he actually stayed in this experiment and didn't attend the funeral or didn't go home?
yeah, I thought it was I probably would have gone home. Like, I don't know if I said this last review, but he said he talked to his family and they said, "Oh, it's what your granddad would have wanted." I'm like, did they really say that? And if they did, do they really know that? Do they know that he would have preferred that he stayed in an experiment to marry a stranger rather than pay his last respects?
To me, if I were her, I would find that very odd
Mm-hmm.
because to my knowledge, they didn't have any other competing interests. And so it could have been a thing of let me go home, pay my respects, do what I need to do, and then I could always get her number, circle back, like if you really feel like the connection is that strong. So I don't know. That would have been a red flag for me,
Mm-hmm.
you missing your grandfather's funeral or going to be with your family. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess, and especially considering how close we find out she is to her family. But I
Right.
I had a feeling like, okay, if they meet each other, at that point I didn't know that they would meet each other and things would go how it would go, but I could
Hmm.
have seen it being a thing where it comes up later on down the road as an excuse, and that is kind of what happened.
Yes, he says he's processing a lot. I think, I mean, it's hard to say because we don't know this man, but I think he is somewhat using it as an excuse
Mhm.
to put some distance between him and her. He's not into her, and he's just not willing to come out and say it just yet.
I feel like with this batch of episodes, he did a better job of concealing that.
He
Um,
did.
yeah, even though we know what it is and it is going to come up later on, I felt like he did a good job concealing it. I thought she was communicating very well with him, saying, "Hey, I'm not going to just sit here and feel unseen if you're
Hmm.
not ready." Like I think she calls him out and says that she doesn't think he's ready. He says, "I am, but it's just been a lot." And at the end of this, he pulls her in and consoles her. So I'm sure she found that comforting.
She did, but why the shift? What was it? Is it that he just wants to save his image and get through the process, or did something else happen? Y'all let us know in the comments.
Maybe he liked her now.
Okay.
All right. And then in this episode, the only other thing I have about them is that they go back home and then they
Hmm.
talk about how, they've been able to navigate things with each other and how it takes him a longer time to express what's bothering him.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's all I have for them on this episode.
All right. Christine and Vic.
Okay.
All right. So the first thing I put down, and I don't know if anybody else caught it, but they get back home, they call
Hmm.
Vic's mom, and we just hear Christine say, "Hi, Victoria." And everything in me was like,
Not a Miss
Victoria,
Victoria,
Mama Vicky.
Mama Vic, Mama, or maybe she doesn't feel comfortable calling her Mama because she has her own mom still living, which is
Mama.
fine. But a
Miss.
Miss,
Yes. Some
it's a cultural thing, I think.
it is, this reminded me when I was in grad school, this person talked about this highly esteemed professor, and he didn't say doctor her name.
Hmm.
He said her first name, and you would have thought I saw a ghost. I was so shocked. Like, have you no manners?
Even my friends' parents, I will call them Mama so and so or
Yes.
Miss so and so.
Let alone
Yeah.
an in-law or potential in-law in this case. Whew. So I thought that was interesting, but it was just a quick moment. I don't want to dwell on it too long, but let us know if you
Mhm.
caught that as well.
Yeah, so they go to see her mom.
Mhm.
And what was so funny to me is right out of the gate, she's like, I find it strange that someone like you and your education and background would, in so many words, be crazy enough to sign up for this experience.
Yeah, yeah. I thought it was funny too. But yeah, he said he's letting God take the lead, and they talked about the importance of faith. Something that was interesting with this conversation was her dad, Christine's dad, was catching a lot of strays, and rightfully so from what we've heard. But I
Hmm.
thought it was interesting that in that moment, Vic was like, "Oh, I've completely forgiven my person," and it's like it just felt like not the right response. It felt like I don't want to say like he was rushing past their pain or because he's so settled in his forgiveness with his
Hmm.
person. I don't know. It gave off a little bit of a high horse feeling for me. I don't know how to describe that.
And a little bit of projecting, like because I have gotten to this place with my dad, and
Yes,
you know how
it's
some people
possible
feel
for
like in
you.
order for you to have peace and all this, you need to forgive, you need to do this. So I personally think for where they are and just meeting him, having very little information about
Yes.
what went down, even if y'all talked in the pods, I still don't think you've probably gotten to all the nitty gritty of that part of her life.
Hmm.
To me, you should be in a space of observation
Yes.
and just giving support. Even the mom was kind of taken aback, like, "Oh, like, well, how much has she shared?" So that lets me know there's a lot there that even she was expecting that he may not know the full story, even
He,
about the mom, even about
yeah.
the mom.
So that's what I was so more concerned about because with Christine, they had the conversations in the past, but you don't know what this mother went through with that man. And so you
Hmm.
just got to be very careful. And I understand we want to rush to forgiveness and things like that. And, but you can't tell people what what works best for them. Hopefully she gets to forgiveness, especially if it's something that is,
Hmm.
upsetting her in her day-to-day life, which I don't know that I got the sense or could get the sense of that from this little bitty clip. But you can't prescribe what is best for her at this time,
Yeah, just
especially not
observe.
based off of your own story. So
Yeah, because I think that's part of what they have in common is maybe having some traumatic parts of their childhood, but even still, I'm sure there's a lot of differences.
yeah, I said talking to her mom about that was a choice. And
Yes.
but it seems like the mom loved him regardless. So, if it wasn't a big deal
I
for her, I don't want to.
I think she was smitten by, how he presents and all of what he has going on. He's tall, he's handsome.
Jack.
Something that the mom said was that she knows that Christine won't settle. And so I've been wondering because we haven't got to see as much of them. Like,
Wait,
is this kind of the
say that
real
again.
deal or oh, I was wondering,
Sorry. It was cutting out a little bit. Say that.
if what we're seeing is kind of the full picture in terms of them being the real deal and being pretty solid at this point. And her mom saying that gave me the thought of like, okay, Christine is not just looking to get married to just anyone. Hopefully, she's
again.
taking this process for what it is, but willing to fully vet as well to make sure that they would be the right fit, not just to say, oh, I'm married by the end of this. She's not
Mhm.
striking me as that type, and neither is he. So,
Yeah, I have more to say about them, but it'll come in the episodes later. And
yes,
I just
let's
know,
stay focused on seven.
yeah, exactly. I'm like trying to focus here. Okay, so that's all that I have. The mom says that he's hot. I thought he was hot. Can I say that? I said, okay, mama, go ahead, girl.
She was happy to get that hug.
Uh, Jessica and Chris, I don't have too much on them for this episode, so I guess we can just get them out of the way. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, he I guess says to her that he feels very stretched right now, but she should know that it's not about her. And she was grateful that he
Mm.
communicated that. Uh, yeah, there wasn't much that I had for them on this episode. So,
I wrote that they have seem to have good chemistry and banter, and it seems like it's a lot of fun at this point. That's all I have at 7.
all right, Ashley and Alex.
Okay.
Right. So this episode going in, I was thinking, okay, what is about to happen? Because we ended out with Alex. We ended off with Alex pretty much hitting on Brittany in Cabo, and so I was just wondering how this couple would progress. They get into a conversation about his mom and how she moves around a lot. I think they called her on the phone. And
Hmm.
it felt like one of the questions I was asking was, well, how long has it been since you've talked to your mom? Because it felt like she was giving a life update like a YouTuber. Like how they do like a life update video. Like that's how it felt when he was talking to his
Hmm.
mom. So I just wasn't sure how often they talk.
I got that same vibe. I was also wondering too if they're these very sporadic nomad people. Maybe she really did decide within the last 2 to 3 weeks to go start a new job and get her motorcycle, whatever it is she's doing. She's just like, oh, I'm gonna do it when I want to do it. So I could see it going both ways,
Mhm.
especially after we end up meeting her.
Yeah, and I felt like it was during this episode that I saw some concern from Ashley. It wasn't voiced, but
Mm,
just maybe starting to see where he's getting his lifestyle from and the types of choices. But to me, it didn't scream stability, and so I started
no.
to get concerned about that. She was trying to go along with it, but I don't know that it's gonna work for her.
And it seems as though he's hyper focused on how successful he's been at this nomad lifestyle. So she should just trust him. I don't know.
Very
But the way,
nonchalant.
yes, the way that he's presenting it, I don't think, and I'm not saying that a nomad lifestyle can't be stable. I think that it can, but I think in the way in which he's presenting it, it's like
Yeah,
he's so focused on what my capabilities are, what I'm able to do. Well, if you're partnering with her,
yeah.
it matters how stable she would be in this transition and that lifestyle. So I don't know. It seems all about him.
Yes. I tried not to judge too much because you remember Nicole and Benaya from the
Hmm.
first, was it the first season of the UK Love is Blind?
Hmm. He was
And so
like
I'm like,
that.
okay, this could be an edit. Who knows? Maybe it works out. But yeah, that I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, even though everything was telling me not to.
Yeah,
All
I'd
right.
agree.
So Alex in this episode gets to meet Ashley's family. What a scene.
What a scene. Where do we
Mom
even
talk at all? Do we even hear from this lady?
She was just sitting there like, yep, what my husband said.
Yeah, I mean, the brother even chimed in here and there, but I
Yeah,
don't
didn't hear.
remember on camera. They could have edited out
Yeah, that's true.
anything that she said.
Yeah, he definitely overtook the conversation, it seems, but I wasn't too mad at it because the way he gathered him, I was here for it. She could have spoken up, but I was entertained by what he did. So,
Yes, I was entertained. I just, think it's cool for everybody to maybe have some type of input. I don't know. I could be reading way too much into that, but
yeah, it's hard to say because they chop up the scene, so why wouldn't they have included it? So it leads you to think maybe she just said nothing,
hmm.
but I'll just stay focused on Ashley, Alex, and their whole relationship.
So Alex talks about how, he likes Ashley because she's strong and independent and confident. And she says she
Hmm.
fell in love with his adventure, like his adventurous side, because she hasn't done a whole lot of traveling. Um,
Hmm.
and then we come to find out that Alex is Tommy from Martin, and he ain't got no job.
Well, he says that he was in finance. He was doing his soccer thing.
Communications major. Hmm.
Mm-hmm. And the dad was like, "Did you study it or did you just do it?"
Hmm.
And then he did what? Day trading.
Yes. I thought he got
And
laid
then
off from his finance job, and that's
so
when
he gets laid off, yeah, from finance. Then he does day trading. And then wherever he's gone, he's also gotten a job there too, doing a bunch of random things.
Mhm.
So he's had jobs. It's just been a bunch of random
He doesn't have a
things.
career, I think it's safe to say. Which, if you are
Yes.
Ashley and you have one, perhaps you would want someone who also has a career. So he took the severance from his company and traveled with it, which, you know, you only live once. And so I understand that, but it just sounds like he's still getting himself together after that. And she might be in a place of more stability. And so I think there's
I
a
think
lot.
the biggest standout for me was even if the dad could get with, oh, I did these random things while I was traveling. Okay. When he was pressing him about, well, do you even know what you want to do? It
Mhm.
seems as though he's just kind of doing what's in front of him.
Yeah.
And so I think that's like the bigger red flag. Like, okay, you spent your 20s traveling. Now you're in your 30s. Now what?
Yeah, absolutely. Then he talks about how he has dual citizenship. He met his father in Hong Kong. Something about his father has a family in Australia, and then he left. And then he went to Hong Kong, married his translator, and now has a family there. And so that was a complicated story. I would love to hear more about that. But Ashley's dad goes, well, who's your father figure? Which
Hmm.
then leads to this story about his grandparents.
Yes, who essentially, I guess, helped raise him. His grandfather was the father figure. Um, I don't know. I will say when he was talking about his whole family structure
Mhm.
and that whole dynamic, I did kind of feel bad for him
Oh,
because
for sure.
it could be in a you can't pick some of the decisions that the adults around you are making when you're a child, and then you get in a situation like this, and then you're having to explain your family history, knowing that some people may judge you maybe for a lack of a father figure or a lack of a familial foundation. And so I did feel for him in that aspect of he shouldn't have to try to explain or feel a way that that's his background, but it definitely felt like during that part, Ashley's dad was taking note of, oh, not only are you currently not stable, don't know what you want to do, but your family history is also extremely complicated as well. And do I want my daughter marrying into that type of dynamic? That's what
Hmm.
it felt like to me. Even though he didn't say it. He didn't
You
say it.
didn't have to,
He
and then
didn't have to.
talking about these types of things in a like rapid fire way too is a little uncomfortable for me because that okay, well, who is your father figure? What if he doesn't have one? Now what?
Oh, it's your grandfather. Well, how old did he live to?
And then
67. Well,
for somebody in finance, the math was not mathing. Okay, maybe that's why he had to
a
had to
lot of
lose that
stuff. I
job.
I feel like Alex just gives out a lot of information, and I don't know if it's the way it's edited. It's either bad editing, he's lying, or he's purposefully convoluting things so that you can't really keep track of
Yeah,
anything. You can't pin him down too much.
you could pin him to dishonesty.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that. But yeah, it is a very convoluted story.
Because how did your granddad die at 67, but they were married for like 53 years?
Unless they married, they were teenage.
But no, like that would have had to be like 14.
Mm-hmm. I know.
That's not
And then he goes, whenever he's pinned to it, he's like, well, that's what my aunt told me.
right.
Listen.
I just had heard it, so I don't know what to tell you.
But then no part of you would just want to do the math yourself. Like, even if my aunt or uncle told me a story and I'm telling Samaria, I would be like, let me make sure the story makes sense myself before I go repeat it.
And I'm not in finance. Finance and accounting in school, I got through. But as soon as he said it, I was like, the math just isn't. Because if two plus two, like it just wasn't adding up at all. Um, anyway, Alex says that he's tired of moving, and he's been in. Why that look? He did
Is
say
he?
that.
Is he? I don't believe it. That's why I gave that look.
Yeah, so this is what he claims. These are the man's words. He's tired of moving, so he's looking to settle down. He's been to a lot of places. Been around the world and I.
And I don't even think that that's a problem.
Mm,
I don't think it's a problem that you've moved around to a lot of places and now you're like, and you did it in your youth and now you're like, or you're claiming, assuming you're telling
yeah.
the truth, you want to settle now. I think the issue is no viable plan for the future. You still don't know what you want to do. And I think it's the current instability in terms of income, future planning. You're just going with the wind.
I think if you want to be anchored somewhere, why not be anchored where the person you're marrying is?
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's why I think, yeah. That's why I'm like, it wouldn't be a problem if you were a bachelor, obviously, but since he's on this show, I'm like, no, that's a big deal. And the dad was like, oh, you've been a lot of places. Have you been with a lot of women? And he admits to that. Um, yeah, we
Mhm.
we have to talk about. So I guess in the election because it's a big thing.
Mhm.
Alex was in maybe Australia or somewhere. Where was he during the
Mm,
election? And so, surprise, surprise, a white family
yeah.
from Ohio voted the way they voted, which is so funny because the dad is like, "Oh, Ashley has a bad picker." Well, the whole family does apparently. Like the apple didn't fall far from the tree. But yeah, I thought his response was interesting. The dad thought it was a cop out because he wasn't here. It's like, okay,
Absentee vote.
there are
He
ways to,
don't care.
yeah,
He don't care.
exactly.
He's
So
not anchored anywhere. He didn't have any solid plans on coming back to the US anyways, probably unless he had to.
yeah,
He's just going to wherever he
where
feels like
life
he wants to
takes him.
go next. The dad is pressing him on, what do you bring to the table? He just wants to make sure that his daughter isn't walking into a shaky situation because something that Ashley keeps saying is, well, I've never traveled and I want to travel. And I'm like, the person who wants to travel in the nomad life and then versus the person who wants to pick up and move to warmer climate, to me, those are three separate things
Mhm.
that seem to all be going together in one conversation.
Yeah, it's like the extreme. Like, okay, if you want to travel more, try a girl trip or something.
Get on
Not
the plane and come back home.
not someone who doesn't have a home. Because did we even see a home for Alex?
Not so far. And she was asking him, I don't know if I'm jumping ahead in the episode, but she was asking, like, well, where is your stuff?
Mm-hmm.
I think she asked that after the
Oh,
conversation with his mom.
yeah.
Some of it's in storage still in Arizona, he said.
Yes. So I think
And
that was last episode. I
okay.
When he was asked what he wants to do, he said that he would like to do the day trading and soccer coaching. And he said he has options and can get back into finance. But one of the things that I thought was interesting is that his licenses have expired. And I meant to look into this before we recorded, but I'm like, what are the steps once your license,
Mm-hmm.
has expired? Like, do you have to retake tests to get your licenses back? Was there something he could have done to prevent his licenses from expiring that he didn't do? Because that would be irresponsible. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I know people who have, shoot, Jackie, I know always talks about how she renews her is it esthetician? I don't know what license she has, but she
Mm-hmm.
always renews it, and she probably won't ever need that thing again, but she still
Why let
renews
it
it.
lapse?
Why let it lapse? And so that for me was like, wait, you just willingly
Because he
let
didn't
that.
plan, I don't think he planned to ever really go back into finance. I think it's just something he's saying, like the rest of the things that he's saying,
Yeah.
because saying, like, oh, I could get back into finance sounds more stable than maybe being a soccer coach or day trading. And I could be wrong. Is day trading a real job? Like, is that something that people do for real?
Because remember when on Married at First Sight, Stasha and Nate was a day trader, right?
Hmm, you're right.
And so maybe
Nate
y'all
also
let us
had his own place and seemed to be
stable.
stable in California. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not well versed on
Yes.
that. So
So anyway, the dad at the end said, I'm not saying I'm not saying he's a bad person, but I don't think honesty is his strength. And I agree with the father.
yeah, and I could appreciate how the father wasn't rushing to give his blessing and
He didn't give it at all.
yeah, like he wasn't like, oh yeah, like I'm just gonna rush to give my daughter away. And
he
I
knows
like how
he knows
he,
bull when he sees it. I
yeah, how
would,
he's like, okay, yeah, we could walk away with it being unknown
yeah.
and let it go from there because I think he knows his daughter as well.
I wonder what Ashley was thinking sitting there. Like was she thinking, "Oh yeah, this is a good showing. That's my man." I'm gonna
I
stand
think
beside
she
him.
knew because she knows her dad and just I mean, I think we could tell from him watching him in this short interaction, she knew that it probably wasn't going to go well.
And if I knew that, I wouldn't even bring him.
I think
But
she knew that.
it sounds
I
like he brought not so great men before, so hey, why not?
mhm. I think she knows her dad is a lawyer and was going to grill him. I also think she doesn't I think she wants this to work, but I'm not getting that she's so desperate to say yes at the end of this just to have a husband. Like I see the wheels turning in her head even though she's not saying much,
Yeah.
but the facial expressions are giving me like, "Oh, I know this guy is full of it." But he looks good.
Yeah, maybe she's here for a good time, not a long time. Let's say that.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on
Mm-mm.
Ashley and Alex? Okay.
Um,
So Jordan and Amber are next. So Amber has a daughter whose name is Emma. And so I guess she went to see Emma and she had the discussion with her about who Jordan is and how
mhm.
he would have to meet her dad
Mhm.
before, he meets her and they can see if this is going to work. Uh, the only other thing is that they do house tours.
Yeah. His place is cozy and a little dirty.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it could use
Like,
nice deep
dude,
clean.
you knew you were leaving for how long and you leave food like that?
How many seat? Right. Oh my gosh. The way my fridge, the way my fridge would be empty, you would think
Like,
nobody lived there.
and bananas are so obvious. You're gonna come home to a house full of gnats and
I know.
yeah. But Amber, this is why they may work because at least in this scene, she didn't seem to be too put off by it.
Hmm.
So I guess it works for them.
Yeah. And so they went to see her house, which I guess is in Mount Vernon. Uh,
Hmm.
she says that, oh, it wasn't supposed to be a place that she was supposed to stay long, and hints towards being, open to moving. But I wonder how realistic that is. Like, it seems like she's invested a lot into her home and into turning it into what she would want it to be. And so I wonder if this is going to be a topic. And the school district, I guess, is one that she's content with her for
Hmm.
her daughter. So I wonder if this is a bigger issue than we were able to see on TV or than they even discussed at the time.
Yeah, he also said that he would be open to moving to Mount Vernon. He does prefer to be closer to the city, but he said that he'd like them to have a fresh start in a new house that they all pick out together. And so, on the one hand, this is where having, I think people on this show and having kids, it just makes it complicated. I wouldn't be rushing to uproot my child from our home and their
And
school
their
that they like.
friends. Yeah.
Right. But I also understand him feeling like, I'm moving into your home and, it would be nice at some point to have a completely fresh start. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I didn't hear him say that he was willing to move to Mount Vernon. I thought he said, I want a spot for both of us and I would like it to be something closer to the city.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I have on them.
Yep, that's it.
All right, Bree and Connor. So, they talk about never wanting a divorce and staying together till death do them part. I was like, am
As
I?
they always say.
Yeah, of course. I don't know. Am I reading it wrong, or did it kind of seem like Brie wasn't necessarily into Connor anymore in this scene?
I'm not getting that she's into him. It seems as though it's an act, or because of how much he's into her, she wants to be into him. Like, I
Okay.
don't know, there's something about Brie where I don't know her past dating history because she keeps saying, well, he's so into me, he likes me so much, as though that should be the reason why she should be into him.
She
I wrote she don't like him.
she asked why he chose her, and he said her ambition. She's very goal driven and she's direct. She says that she can envision life with him. She can see the games and the family reunions, and she's dreamed about these moments, and now they're happening to her. And so, I'm like, I don't know. That's why I thought maybe I was reading it wrong initially,
She can see a life with him,
and not
but
with
does
it.
she like him?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
oh, it could work, but is she really, really into him? I don't think so.
yeah. Okay. So then they go to Casa de Connor. His
Mm-hmm.
home. I thought was better than some of the other ones we've seen. He bought it 2 years ago. A big safety issue with that door, but other than that, it seemed like your typical, male space. He likes plants, so he has plants. I don't even do plants, so color me impressed. I'm like, okay, cool. You can keep plants alive. I certainly cannot. Uh, I will say he had his Christmas tree up, and I guess it was near Easter. That is a bit
Mm-hmm.
excessive. But I mean, it's just like nothing ridiculously major in my opinion. Like he seems like he keeps his home well. The kitchen was clean. He had the dishes there wasn't anything that was like, "Oh my god, this is awful."
It felt like a cozy man pad. Like
Yeah.
he has it how he wants it. He has his little man cave in the garage, and
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't. It looks as though a man lives there. It's by
Yes.
himself.
And I hate to say that I like people on this show because they go and embarrass. As soon as you're like, "Oh, I like
Every
this person,"
time.
next week Connor cheats on her with somebody from the Pod Squad or something. So I will say for this episode, I was like, I kind of like him. Like, he writes poetry. He has a vision for his man cave.
Mhm.
I think he's just a regular guy. I mean, he had the keg, so that was pretty young, but
Do you think Connor really likes her? Or
uh,
can he just see a life with her too? They can both envision a life with each other.
yeah, I don't think Connor needs much though. So that's the thing. Um,
Yeah.
I think if she keeps talking to him the way she talks to him,
I
it could be
I
okay.
think Bree is a lot, and some of his responses to her, even though they're quick,
Mhm.
I don't know. I feel like I could see him getting tired of it.
I can see him being like, you know what, I don't really like assessing the situation and saying I don't really want to do this. I could definitely
Mm-hmm.
see that, but he's not going to be criticizing her every move throughout the
Mm-mm.
process.
Not like she's doing him.
Right. It's just going to be a decision that he makes at the altar or something, later on
Mm-hmm.
down
She won't hear a whole lot of lead up.
right. She's going to be shocked. Like, what? I thought we were on the no. You called me a kid pretty much and treated me like a kid several times. But I think that's all
Hmm.
I have for them in episode 7. Do you want to move on to episode 8?
Yep, let's go to 8.
Okay. Do we need to keep their pictures up or are we good?
Nah.
Okay. All right. So episode 8 starts with Chris and Jessica. They do house tours. And I thought, his house was cute. They have the conversation about how his parents were thrilled that she doesn't necessarily want kids because they know him and they know that that's not something he wants. Uh,
Hmm.
which is funny because I was like, I wonder if we didn't see this, but if Emma and Chris ever connected on anything because it seems like they at least have that in common where neither one of them want kids, and that might have been something to explore. But that was just what I was thinking at the beginning of episode 8, not further down the line.
Yeah. Yeah, his place is nice, it's cozy. Um, I don't know. I feel I don't know.
You sound
I, I feel
flustered.
like Jessica. and Brie are so different
Okay.
that I don't know. I'm still, even at this point, I'm like, the way he kept talking about, oh, I want to lead someone,
Mm-hmm.
and he wants to take the lead. Jessica's not giving that she needs to be led, quote unquote, in any ways.
But neither is Brie, right? Like, and that's where I think it's just going to be a terrible situation of like butting heads the entire time.
Yeah, and so they go to her place. It's a beautiful home. A lot of snakes, but it is a
It's
beautiful
the
home.
medic. I think it's the medical snake. So it's like
Oh,
representing, yeah, her
well,
practice.
even just like the decor pieces, like the rug.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah,
that's why I was like, she's really into being a doctor and she's really into healing. Because why would you have that
all
specific
these.
type of
Yeah,
snake in so many places? Yeah. So I think she
yeah.
I think it reflects who she is. Like she says she works at the hospital all the time. She loves her job and all that stuff. So I wouldn't make that decorative choice, but it
Yeah.
definitely says who she is.
But yeah, she has a nice home that she's made her own. And she mentions, like, I'm pretty settled here. It is out in the burbs. And I wrote, I don't think Chris is going to be looking to move into her space.
I'm looking to move into her space because I thought it was really beautiful. I thought she did a great job decorating it and everything. It was very cute. You can tell it has a woman's touch on it,
Very
minus
glam.
all the snakes.
Yeah.
Uh, and then they go to another scene with them where I guess he had gone out the night before or 2 nights before. That was a little bit shaky to me.
Yeah, because it at one point they said last night, but then he said he needed 48 hours. They were kind of using both interchangeably, so
Who knows?
yeah.
But he didn't communicate that well. And so she's coming to him saying, "Oh, I didn't really hear from you. I guess she had sent a
Mhm.
text message and he never responded." And I knew it was going left when his first response was, "Well, I don't need to be in constant communication with you." First of all, not constant, but continuous communication is necessary if this is somebody who you're going to be spending your time with. Like, you can't just go 13 hours or however long without any type of communication.
And it sounded as though she wasn't so much upset that he went with the friend and got a drink or whatever, but I think it was that he decided to go back to his house instead of staying at the shared apartment with her, or at least to say something. And then she said, like, oh, and I texted you and said, I love you, and got no response back. And
Hmm.
he was just kind of like, yeah, well,
Yes.
good.
So he said he needed a 13-hour break from what, from who, from, it seems like she's often at work. So is the
Yeah, she's
time at
saving
work?
lives.
Yeah. So is the time at work not enough? What's going on here? And that is when he talks about how he's just not feeling the physical connection between us two, which I wish he would have just said that instead of asking her first, because he asked her and she said, "Oh, I think things are fine. How about you?" If you want to say things aren't going well for you, say that for you. And then if I want to chime in, I will, but don't ask
You want to
me.
pull her to participate.
Right.
Why? Use
Unnecessary.
your alpha energy and take the lead and say it with your chest.
Since you're a leader, since you want to be a leader so bad.
Asking her something like that. And instead of him just sitting her down to have the conversation, he does the whole thing where he takes a break. He's making her wonder what's wrong. If you're truly a leader, you would have just sat her down from the beginning and said, "Hey, this is what I'm feeling." I
Right.
also wonder what was it that made him decide to do it that day?
Mm.
Because things seem to go well, the honeymoon. I have a theory that once he saw her house,
Ah! Okay, I did not think that was the theory, but go ahead.
I think once he saw her house and she was obviously settled there,
Hmm.
well established, I think he already knew, like, yeah, this woman isn't going anywhere. And I don't think he would have the mindset of like, well, let me move into her home and we create a home of ours, you know?
Yeah. He
I
needs
just
someone on his level or beneath by his standards, right?
yeah,
Even if
yeah.
they aren't. He just needs to be able to perceive them as less than or on his level.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that he couldn't have been having feelings about the attraction, but I don't know. I think it's something to do with that house tour. Something there happened.
So
Yeah.
let's talk about the attraction because at several points in this conversation, I was like, okay, does he not like her body or does he not like her routine or her regimen? Like, what is it? Because he kept saying, oh, I'm around people who do Pilates. Her body looks like a woman who does Pilates. Like, it doesn't, like, if I had to pick out a Pilates body, which there is not one
Hmm.
Pilates body, but I think I wouldn't think she wasn't a Pilates person. So that's why it struck me as weird that he kept saying I usually date people who do Pilates because when he was talking about physical attraction, because she doesn't seem too far off from a person
No,
who would.
I may be reaching. I think he wanted to humble her. I
Yeah,
do. I think he wanted to humble her because she does have a full life. She has a lot going on for herself.
yeah.
And I think he knew that she didn't have a regimented workout routine. She wasn't doing CrossFit and all of that. She wasn't doing Pilates. She never put on it. She said that. Did I hide the fact that that's not
Mhm.
a part of my lifestyle? No. He seemed to be all into her on the honeymoon.
Yeah.
Once he observed everyone else as well, didn't seem to be a problem. So I don't know. There's something there where I think he was just grasping at straws. And I'm
Mhm.
not saying that his lack of attraction can't be possible. It could be. But the way he was saying it gives, I'm trying to humble and hurt you. Specifically when he had to bring up the fact that he's thinking about his number two option and how she would be someone he's interested in. That was to get her in her head, I think.
For what reason? Like, you think he was doing it so that she would be humble and then stay with him? I'm not saying it's not a possibility, but I'm just trying to think through like the
Well,
end game because he
I,
didn't want it to end,
right,
according
that's what
to
I'm
him.
saying. It's
So,
almost like maybe he wanted to take her down a few notches only to get her to continue to participate. Now she's on a hamster wheel
mm-hmm,
to win him back or to get
mm-hmm,
him to be attracted to her so that he's in this place of power or dominance
yeah,
within the relationship or that he's on a pedestal. But
mm-hmm.
I don't know that he was expecting that she would really truly be done.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
I was thinking wherever Chris was, he realized that he wants to be out here playing with his options, and that is why he came back and was acting funny towards her. I think whatever
Mm.
happened during the time he was away, or whoever he stayed with, was
Mm.
at his house, or whoever came to his house with him, I think he just realized that he would rather
Be playing.
be out here playing games than settling down with her. I think she is a serious person and he is not. And so yeah, I don't think he's ready for what she would offer.
I agree with that. I think, and not to jump ahead, but what happens in the pod squad confirmed what I was feeling in this episode. Like, oh, he's just being mean at
Yeah.
this point. It's one thing to say, I'm questioning the physical attraction and if it will grow. Many people say that. But the way he said it and then the follow up behavior, oh, this man is out for blood.
And I'm not a body expert, but like are Bree and Jess's bodies that much different? Like I don't know.
I
I,
think the only difference is that Brie is slightly taller.
that is it. That's all
Slightly
that I picked up
taller,
on. So
longer limbs. She's not as petite, so her limbs are longer.
yeah,
That's the biggest difference I see. Different hair, obviously, color, different
right.
features,
But that's
but
not Pilates, you know.
and and if it was so important, especially when he was connecting with Bria, oh, I'm doing the ice plunges, I'm doing these marathons and the Ironmans and the this and that. he was actually like, "Oh, I'm ready to break up with you too, Bree." So even hearing that she was all on board with those types of things, that wasn't enough for you to choose her or to pick her.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just feels like he's grasping at anything.
Yeah. He is. He is. Okay. So that's it. That's it on the Ashley and Alex in this episode.
Okay.
This was interesting. So this is where they were sitting at the table and there's tension that you could cut with a knife. So they
Mm-hmm.
talk about how she's not as open to moving so quickly. Like everything seemed like a rush, right?
I was surprised, like the way he was saying initially was like, "Oh, we both want to move to warmer climates." Yeah, when the process is over,
Yeah.
she talks to her manager. Like I'm thinking in a couple months, she
Not
probably has
next
a
week.
lease. Yeah, so the way he's talking is as though, well, I have this offer today, good for you, and so you should just be ready to come too.
Hmm.
Can't even give this woman 24 hours. Ashley, leave him where he is.
And she has a good and stable job that she really likes. Like she was saying, she doesn't want to leave the company. She just wants to talk to him and see if there's an option for her to work at that same place but be in a different state.
And did she say that she was potentially up for a promotion?
Something like that. It was either that she had just gotten one or that she was up for one.
Yeah, like she's on an upward trajectory
Yeah.
where she's at.
Emma's up for a promotion.
Okay,
I know
Emma's
that
up for
for
a
sure. So
promotion.
I thought
Okay.
Ashley had she had grown with the company in some
She had
way.
grown. Okay.
Mhm.
But it sounds like she has a good situation going on that she just doesn't want to up and leave.
And shouldn't have to.
Mm-mm.
Anyway, so then they talk about, I guess, how he put stuff in the fridge. And when I put stuff in the fridge, I want it to be the same way. She said it was one time and we addressed it. She was not playing with him that day. That was not the time to
Yeah.
be airing stuff out. And then she was like, well, also, you left the spa, and I guess there's expectation versus reality when it comes to the physical with them as well, or she expects more. And she expects more, but also when he mentioned in Cabo that the physical attraction wasn't necessarily there, or she wasn't who he would typically go for, I think it maybe made her feel like a little unsure.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And then it sounds as though they were having like an intimate moment with the massage or mud play, and then he just left and went out.
He said, I got
So,
places to be.
yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Then they get into this conversation about, I guess he's avoiding touching her because of the time of the stage in her cycle.
Oh,
And go
one
ahead.
more thing before we get there. So when they were having this back and forth on the, oh, I want to don't want to get stuck in Columbus. Okay, they both agree they want to be in warmer weather.
Hmm.
They have these two options of potentially, they said Arizona or Florida. He's talking about how like, oh, Florida is where they have good politics down there. Do they? Okay. And I'm a Floridian.
Girl.
But right. But he seems to be pressing more for Florida
Hmm.
than Arizona. And so I was thinking everything is about him. It's not even just that you want to up and move or you don't want to be stuck in Columbus. You want to pull this woman to wherever you want her to be or wherever it works out in your favor. Oh, well, I have this job offer today. It
Cutting
just
off
came
her
in.
connections, which is a
Yes.
sign.
Yes. So it's giving a little controlling.
Because she says, I don't have anybody in Florida, and it's far.
And neither does he
But
really.
he
But he has
doesn't
this
want connection.
soccer, yeah, he has this soccer offer in front of him. But I think initially he posed it as like, oh, I would be open to either one. No, really, you're just open to going to Florida where you have this next job lined up. He
Got
don't currently have a job. All right, now we can move on.
it. Okay, so Ashley says, "Oh, I'm not gonna get pregnant on my period," which PSA is a possibility. So yeah, just in case somebody didn't know that, stay safe. And then she was like, I won't be ovulating for 2 weeks. I'm like, wait, what? There's a lot of math that's not mathing with this couple. Cause I'm like, hold on, I'm no biologist.
Was she on her? This whole conversation was so convoluted. I was so confused. Was it that her period came and then he didn't want to touch her while she was on her period? Did he feel like the period didn't come, so he was waiting for it to come because they were reckless in Cabo? I could not follow.
Or that it was right after her period, so maybe he was thinking she was, she'd be more like fertile at the time.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it seems like maybe they could do for like they're due for a really good Google search.
Not
Whether
only a Google search, he needs to, if you're so particular about not getting her pregnant, which I don't think she wants to be pregnant either, then you need to do what you need to do on your end. It's that simple.
really that simple. It is very.
Versus telling her, what did he say? Well, do you want to share a tracker with me?
I couldn't think of
You know,
anything. Well, I could think of things that are more invasive, but that's pretty invasive.
just
Like,
do what you need to do and you won't be this nervous and doing wrong math.
yeah, and so they are also having problems with initiation. She says he sleeps with the pillow between them. He felt she should initiate more, and she thought she had been doing that. So anyway, I say I could not be on this show because there are a lot of public discussions, private discussions that are happening in public, and I would just prefer not to do dating this way. But I'm glad they do because they give us something to talk about.
Right.
Anyway, she talks about how she doesn't want to be needy or else she would initiate more, and you can still touch me even if I'm on my cycle. So it seems like he believes if they're not going all the way, he can't even touch her, and it's like she's still a human. She still wants human touch without that. So anyway,
I, he said something like he feels like he's on eggshells right before she gets up and walks away. And I'm like, you the one who feel like you're on eggshells? Okay.
he said, I was a mistake and it changed my mom's life. Okay, so don't make the same mistakes your mom did. Like, you have control here. You have agency. Use it.
And then she's the one that comes back in and is apologizing. I don't know. I feel like he's
Did he text
nitpicking
her?
her.
Because there was something with the phones. So I thought maybe
Maybe he did, but when she comes back in, she's apologizing. And I'm not saying that she shouldn't take some accountability, but based off what was being said about these water bottles, the laundry, the period, it just feels very nitpicky. The whole moving conversation, him being up her butt about it, like to me he was doing a lot in this whole conversation.
yeah. Okay. I don't have much about Amber and Jordan. They meet Jacob, which is her brother. And then,
Yeah. Nothing comes of this sit now other than I think they like him. They're joking around a lot and he met Emma's dad and it went well.
okay.
Yeah.
Moving on to Vic and Christine.
Okay.
So this is where I don't know where they are. Did they even move into the apartment? Like,
We
what's
just
happening with this couple?
we get random clips of them out and about, but not ever in their shared space. Are they sharing a space?
Or could they not afford that too? Because they said that the reason why they couldn't go to Cabo with everybody was because of budget. And they
Right.
were following 7 couples instead of like 5.
And if you couldn't afford Cabo, then how could you afford to follow them for another couple weeks?
Yeah. And I guess the place where they went, I've heard is pretty pricey as well. So, but maybe it was the plane tickets as well. I don't know.
Well, they would have already been in California, I guess, being in the pods.
Right. So they wouldn't have had to. So that's what I'm saying. They wouldn't have had to buy
Mm-hmm.
them a plane ticket to go to Cabo. So maybe that's where they saved.
In rooms. I don't, yeah, but then they have this film crew actually filming with them. But the big question is, are they living together right now? I don't know that we know.
I don't know that we know. Okay.
Mhm. They're in the park. That's what I
Conspiracy theory. I don't
have.
know.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
feel like they could be this
I like a good
dance.
conspiracy theory.
It's just like some of the conversations that they're having. I just
Hmm.
feel like they're planted there to push forth certain agendas.
Okay.
And I don't know if I'm the only one who feels this way, but y'all can let me know in the comments if I'm way off. I'm okay with that too. But just the types of conversations that they're having, which revolve around like faith and
Mm-hmm.
oh, God is directing the steps, which I don't have anything against that, but I
Mm-hmm.
can also identify possible agendas when they exist.
Mm-hmm.
And just with the trajectory of the show over the past few seasons, we are seeing more of this specific type of rhetoric. And
Mm-hmm.
so I just would not be surprised. I'm not saying it's exactly what's happening, but I'm just saying if it came out one day that that's what was going on, like if they
Mm-hmm.
did an America's Next Top Model type TV show or docu series, whatever, I would not be surprised that certain agendas are being pushed.
I would wonder if if it was, say, a plant situation, why not plant them and like follow them
And that's
and
the only thing. I think
and
that's
get
the only
people,
hole in my conspiracy theory.
yeah, like get people more invested, as well as if because the producers are able to see all of their pod scenes and just like how they've been able to progress. So why not fully follow them and then drop off Chris and Jessica?
I
Oh,
will say,
you got the little church, the little.
right. I will say, I think sometimes less is more. I think because
Mm,
they're showing so few scenes of them, there are people online who are like, oh, this is the couple that I'm rooting
I
for.
have seen
It's
that.
very strategic. And so, again, I'm not saying it is what it is, but just, we've watched this show. I've watched every season, but we've been
Hmm.
reviewing for quite a few seasons. And I would say from Minneapolis to now, there's like a political lean that we're seeing a lot on the show and a religious lean that is allegedly aligned with those politics,
Hmm.
allegedly. So, yeah, I just think it's a possibility that they're posting.
Okay.
And this conversation in the park, I think,
It's a very interesting conversation to have on international television. Very complex, complicated.
and
I
the
don't
way they
know.
try to
Like, is this really how the conversation went? I don't.
compact it into this, yeah, it's just a, I don't want to I don't want to get too deep, but I think there's a specific angle that was being offered with this, like, oh, we have to point out this issue, and this isn't a conversation that happens in 10 minutes, 10 hours, 10 days, 10 years. This is an ongoing conversation, and so just the way that it was, yeah, wrapped up neatly.
E- Even some of his responses, we don't know these people, y'all, but when she asked him, like, well, do you have any concerns around your children having a white mother? Sorry if I'm jumping ahead. We can always go
No,
back.
go for
But the
it.
way he was so resolute, and I have no concerns. It won't be any issues. I just thought that was so interesting.
I thought that was interesting. I do appreciate that the conversation was brought up, and he was able to say, everything isn't always set up fairly. He talked a little bit about his
Hmm.
upbringing and very little about his growing up in Brooklyn and him needing to be able to bring up these things, like talk to his kids
Hmm.
about politics and about history. I thought it was interesting then, and this is where I think the agenda comes in. I thought it was interesting then, this idea of, for me, because I won't be able to relate to my children 100%, and you just you want that with your kids. So it was like maybe drawing attention away from, I don't want to say some very valid issues, because I think that that is
Hmm.
a valid thing as well, but maybe more pressing issues
Hmm.
to her being the center and this pain that she'll have of not being able to relate fully to a child. I don't know. It was
Hmm.
just, yeah. A lot going on there. But
Yeah, I think that partially it's nice that like okay, this was addressed. I don't know that they're the first Love is Blind. No, they're not the first Love is Blind. Maybe like black male and white woman couple,
it
are they?
wasn't discussed. So we have Kwame and Chelsea
Yeah.
season 4, but this wasn't necessarily a conversation that they had, if I'm recalling. They had some stuff going on too, so
Yeah.
could have been had behind the scenes, but I don't think we saw it on television. Also,
Yeah.
they're from, I don't know, maybe a place where like they were from Portland, Seattle,
Mm-hmm.
so
Okay.
who knows?
Things could be different. But yeah, I thought that this was a big conversation to have
Hmm.
out loud. It'll probably be more than one conversation if they decide to move forward.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, yeah, there's just a lot there, and it's not necessary. I'm not even saying this is on them. Like, I think we're talking more about the issue and the production and all that. And I know I got a lot of flack for like last season with Edmund and his teacher, because people were like, "What?
Mm-hmm.
This was such a heartfelt moment." I'm like, I something about it just felt off. Whether it was production pushing her to do certain things, or whether they brought somebody else to play
Mm-hmm.
the role of the teacher, I don't know. But yeah, this scene just felt a little bit interesting.
Heavily produced, maybe.
Something. It's their storyline, so we'll
And
see
then
how
I
it goes. It's too early
and
to call it.
and then I want to know like, are they following them because they actually do see it through? And they sense that so they could have at least one couple who gets married, maybe stays married. So they're like, yeah, we should follow them a little bit because up until this point, even in 9, we don't see his family,
Mm-mm. We don't
his
see, we
black
don't see
family,
Mama Vicky.
his friends.
We don't see them, but we
That was also,
saw her mom. Yeah.
yeah, we haven't seen who's surrounding him.
Have we seen their apartments? We didn't get to see them go to their
No.
either. And so yeah, I don't know what they're doing with these people. I don't know what's happening here. Netflix Connect, but
Yeah. It's a big question mark.
it's a big question mark. But again, people are loving them based off of the scraps that they're seeing.
And I think based off what's presented, they seem to be going strong. Like based off what we see,
At least we don't
they
have
seem
any drama like the others.
yeah, they seem to be going strong. But I will say if they organically went through this experience, found their person, I would feel a little cheated. They didn't even get the same honeymoon. They didn't get the full experience of being in the apartment complex with everyone else. They're kind of it's like the 6 couples and then them.
Hmm.
Like they're just the other outlier.
Yeah.
And why them as the outlier and not Devontae and Brittany?
Brittany.
Like that's another thing. Y'all choose to showcase that.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's keep going.
Okay, speaking of Devontae and Brittany, they are next. So he's meeting her parents. I don't know that
Wait,
one.
wait, wait. Before we get there, at the gym, she asked him about seasonings. Girl, you know Devontae don't want no seasoning. She worked. He's like, I can't think about that right now.
Oh
You
my
you can ask me at any point in the day if you coming over to cook. Well, girl, what seasoning should I bring? Girl, bring the lemon pepper, the
God.
garlic, the Laura,
Sasson.
the Goya. Anyways.
Okay, so he gets to meet her parents, her brother,
Mm-hmm.
and her sister-in-law. At first, I was like, "Is her mom here for the process?" Because she like was kind of, I guess she was cooking though, like finishing up the meal.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, everybody's talking, and the mom just had her back turned, and whenever they cut the camera to her, it didn't seem like excitement. So I'm like, what are they? Are they
Maybe
trying
she
to?
really wasn't here for the whole thing
Hmm?
and didn't want to do too much in either direction. So
Maybe.
the best she's like, this is the best I can give you.
Nah. Yeah. So Brittany seemed really happy with with how he does things around the house. Uh, she talks about him cooking.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so he
Cleaning up.
things around the
Yeah,
house. Yeah,
he seems to be helpful.
that's good. And so there were positive things about him in
Mm-hmm.
this episode, or this bunch of episodes. Brittany's dad and her brother, they were very warm. Her mom didn't say much, but she was smiling. Like when they sat down for
Mm-hmm.
dinner, she was smiling and she seemed pretty pleasant. I would love to hang out with Brittany's family. They seem really cool, you know?
And that food looked amazing.
It looks delicious. It
Hmm.
did.
I, I enjoyed it. Brittany has a beautiful family, very sweet, loved her dad. I hated, I hated the interaction because of
It was wasted
the,
on Devontae.
it was wasted on Devontae. Like you could tell her dad is just so excited for her to find her person. It's been so long since she's bought someone around. So they seem very eager to give her away. And that's the part where I was just like,
Yes. Oh my gosh, yeah. The dad, he's a big family person. He said, when it comes to his family, that's the richest life that you'll have. And I
mm-hmm,
absolutely agree. I loved hearing her dad talk about marriage. It was just really sweet. Uh, to the point that you just made, I wrote down that Marissa, her sister-in-law, said, this man must be special because I've never seen her like this, and I've been around the family for, was it 7 years? I'm like, imagine
mm-hmm.
saying all of that, and it's Devontae.
And y'all are gonna watch this back.
Imagine. But yes, I too did not like how the dad didn't have any reservations. I put he's very sweet but too eager.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, I'm only saying this because we know more, like based off of what he
Mm-hmm.
knows.
I think Devontae presents well.
Hmm.
And I think, and I wonder if, it's kind of hard to say, like, what's going through Brittany's mind. She knows that there's something off. But even going into this interaction with her family, she seemed to be invested in showing Devontae and her situation in the best light.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Anyway, I thought it was
unfortunate.
funny at the end when the dad came down and was like, it got rough, and Devontae left. It got rough, and the mom was like, he's so full of it. I like that kind of dynamic in a family, so it was nice to see. Anyway, moving on. We haven't talked about Mike and Emma at all because they weren't really
Yeah.
in episodes.
Oh, did we skip them in seven?
I didn't
Let
have
me
any
know.
notes on them.
Let's see.
I
Uh,
mean, really, the only thing we saw was that Em
oh,
came
we
home
did.
talking again about her luggage and, or her being a little messy, but that's about
Yeah, her lack of organization.
yeah.
That was all. And baby talk. That was it.
They did have a moment where it felt a little passive aggressive, like
Mm.
where he was talking about her cleaning and laundry, and she's like, oh, okay, well, you're not so perfect, or like you do things too that aren't necessarily on the up and up.
We missed something kind of big that Mike did that I didn't like in episode
Oh,
7, real quick. We'll merge it together with 8.
okay.
So they're having this conversation. She was saying that she was up for the promotion.
Yeah.
She might look outside of Columbus, but we'll make a decision based off them and if they move forward.
Hmm.
He brings up kids again and how his best friend and some other friend just had a baby 6 months ago. That's none of y'all's
What's that
business.
got to do with me?
He wants to make sure that a child is a part of his future. It's fine to say that you want to have children, but to bring this up to her around, oh, because my friends are having kids, it just makes me want it more. It just seems very insensitive. Talk about y'all wanting children independent of whatever everybody else is doing in their lives. Like,
Mhm.
especially that can put unnecessary pressure on her as a woman, and say she does decide, and if it don't happen in 6 months, like the way he worded it was off-putting to me.
And it just seemed like, what happened to the guy who said, oh, it doesn't have to be immediate? The pressure is giving immediacy. I will say that.
He wants a honeymoon baby if
Yeah,
they stay together.
he wants it pretty quickly.
But
Okay,
yeah,
so but in episode 8, they meet
this was
his family. And baby, that mother is honest. Okay, his mom is very honest.
I said, what in the Godfather is going on?
And they were like, "Have you been around Italians? Because it's a different like culture." I mean, they were very real though. Like
Hmm.
they weren't impolite to her, but just very.
Direct.
I would have had those same questions. Um, yeah.
Yes.
So the dad asked how she felt about being around an Italian family, and she said she had dated someone Italian previously, and then kids came up, and of course kids came up every episode because that's I guess their storyline. I feel like at the reunion they're gonna say something like, yeah, so or in their interviews,
Hmm.
yeah, so much happened, and it was interesting that they just focused on kids. That's the storyline that they're
Yeah.
being given. Um, okay, but yeah, so the mom was kind of like, well, what happens when later on she decides she actually doesn't want kids? And I think
Hmm.
Mike did a good job of like calming his mom. Like he made sure that it wasn't an Emma being attacked thing. Not that the mom was even trying to attack her, but I
Hmm.
felt like there were moments where he used his voice to say, "Okay, like relax. It's something we've talked about." So I thought that was really nice protector instinct, at least
I
on his
wish he
part.
would have protected a bit more, only because the kids' conversation is such a big conversation. And if you know your parents or grandchildren hungry, when the question was posed by the dad, so y'all want kids, it was to both of y'all.
Hmm.
I would have looked to him for him to be like, to
Yeah.
like initiate the conversation to say, hey, well, that's something we're still thinking about, and whatever it is he wanted to say, so that he took the lead in that, and then I could chime in. I didn't really appreciate how she ended up kind of going down the rabbit hole of all the reasons why and the this and the that. That's none of their business.
She's a 20 something. I feel like that late 20s is where you start to find your voice. And so
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't surprised that I'm not surprised that she's as wishy-washy as she is. I
Mm-hmm.
actually think it's a good thing because now is the time for you to get your training because before you hit 30,
Yeah.
it would be a good exercise to say what you said and leave it at that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you. I can see that where if he had answered, then she wouldn't have had to say anything.
Yeah, because she says, oh, well, the relationship stability, financial stability. Then she goes into the birth mark and the surgeries. And then, the dad, he's like, so, is your family, of Asian ancestry? He's trying to figure out what the lay of the land is here. So I don't know. I wouldn't have told them too much other than we're just focused on what's in front of us and making it to decision day, and it's still something that honestly is up in the air, and that sister can mind her own business too.
Ooh,
Yes.
okay.
Like, oh, I want our kids to grow up the way we grew up with cousins. Like, I get all that, but you just met this woman 2 seconds ago.
Yeah. At the end of it, she said, I can't say for sure that I want kids, which last week in the comments, people were saying, oh, she's wishy washy. And you said that too, like, oh, I don't get the sense that she's sure. Whereas I felt like she's sure, she's just not saying it. But of course, what can he go off of except what she's saying? But yeah, at the end, she says again, I can't say for sure that I want kids. And Mike, lion self, said, well, and I don't want you to. I don't want you to say that.
He needs to go and find someone who has just as much baby fever as him.
I think they both need to like, stand 10 toes down in their convictions. Him with, it
Hmm.
has to be kids for me, and I don't want you to be wishy washy, so I'm going to go find somebody who isn't. And her with, I don't know if that's something that I'll ever want, or at this point, it's not something that I want, so I'm not going to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
All right. And then the last people we have to talk about on this episode are Bree and Connor
Okay.
because they met
I think it's her mom, right?
her mom first. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, her apartment is nice. It's cute and girly, kind of what we thought it would be. So in sitting down with her mom, they talk about how they bonded over Michigan and how they had all of these things in common. I said once again, I think they both can envision like, oh, we have these things in common and a partnership could work, but I don't know that the passion, or I don't know that they really just see it for each other like that, or would it just be convenient?
Yeah. Uh, okay.
So,
I she said to her mom, like, I've been pausing to appreciate Connor. And then she says that she's had to show him certain things. He's adaptable, and that's a great thing to have in a partner, but I don't like this idea of, yeah, I'm training him, like, and
mhm,
how it could impact both of them. For her, she would probably be turning into his mom, living with
mhm.
him. And for him, no grown person who has a whole home that they've set up to their liking, and nobody wants to be, treated like a child.
And she also shares how she's a real go getter, self driven, doesn't know if he'll match her energy and if she even needs that. And so, I don't know, Connor seems to be established. He bought his own home. The way she talks about herself versus him is as if there is a bigger juxtaposition, like as if
Like,
there's so-
what was that girl Hannah and Nick? Remember?
yes, like Hannah saw herself way up here.
Except
With,
Connor has his stuff together. Like, I think she has an apartment. He has a home, so that's like a step. I'm not saying everybody
yeah.
needs to buy a home or anything, but that's an
And
impressive
he seems to be employed. He
step.
describes himself as like a simple blue collar guy, which I don't think that there's anything wrong with that.
Correct.
Nothing about him does tells me that he's not self driven or that he's not a go getter.
I think they just have different goals. I feel like Connor maybe has met a lot of his goals. He has the house, he's fixing it to what he wants it to be.
Hmm.
He has a family that grounds him. He doesn't need to be climbing up the corporate ladder. And I don't see that as he's never going to try to get a promotion or anything like that.
Hmm.
It's just maybe there are so many other things that are going for him, and climbing up quickly and, being a go-getter just maybe doesn't appeal to him the way that it
Yeah.
appeals to her. And she should be able to respect that, because again, he's not bumming it.
Right. So what else? I don't know. Maybe she feels like she would be dragging him along. And he has said like, I could appreciate that she is independent, she's hardworking and ambitious and all those things. So it's not as though he would try to stifle or doesn't want her to be those
Yeah.
things. He seems to appreciate it. It seems as though she's still trying to figure out what she wants as well.
What is her career while you
Um,
I I'll have to go back to my episode
yeah.
one notes. I
Did
can
I?
do that really quickly, but some of the things she said to her mom, she was like, yeah, he did. I don't know. I don't remember what he did. And she said,
Hmm.
I said, Connor, that is not happening in my house. Girl, the house that y'all share together, the home, y'all's house, to be very southern, y'all's house is where, he can't do
Girl.
certain things. And then, she says she's debating whether she even needs someone who has that same go-getter mentality, which I do think is a valid thing to consider, right? Like, if you are always trying to level up,
Hmm.
I think, yeah, sometimes you do want a partner who can see
To
that
get
and
with it.
respect you.
Yeah.
Also, I think that's attractive. So I think that is something that she should consider, but not in a looking down on him kind of way, because he's established, just in a, is this what I would want?
And so it says that she's a senior merchant. I'm not sure what that means.
Hmm.
That's what's on the Netflix website, says senior merchant. But also just seeing maybe the value in y'all having maybe different approaches at different seasons of life. Like, it's like maybe it looks different when you have kids. Even she may want to, slow things down or change of pace or I don't know.
Yeah. What I didn't like was her saying, yeah, he's a boy. He's just a boy. And her mom very sweetly corrected her and said, he's a man. I just think it's so funny, because when it comes to conversations about, people emasculating others, it's just,
She's a ball buster. That's the vibe I get from her.
it's
Like she kind of,
unnecessarily.
yeah, goes out of her way. And he, to me, is like, okay. Like he's not
Yeah.
giving her a big reaction. I think he's still trying to figure it out, but it's gonna get old very
Because
quick.
he doesn't give pushover. It just gives he's
Mm-mm.
trying to be gentle and kind with her.
If he met her with the same energy, it would be explosive.
That's what Chris wants. That's where they're headed. All right. And now we get into episode 9,
Yeah, can knock that out.
where, okay, so I guess back to Chris and Jess, he's thinking that they're going to get back together. You know, he's like, oh, yeah, she doesn't even want to explore things with me. She doesn't even want to talk to me. How dare you be surprised?
After you say you want to explore things potentially with your number two who already has a fiance.
Yeah. And
That's
then he's
crazy.
like, well, you know, and I don't know how it's I think she said this something like, I don't know how it's supposed to be fun now, because he was saying, well, we could stay together and you know we could still
Hmm.
have fun, and she said, I don't know how it's supposed to be fun now, and he goes, wow, wow. Like, where's the confusion?
Because I think part of him expected her to maybe go along with it and continue to try.
No,
Yeah.
people aren't desperate out here. Like she has said countless times, she has a great life that she has built for herself, and you're not about to be out here making her feel inadequate. First of all, she probably has more cardio, does more cardio than the average person working in a hospital for hours at a
Walking this
time.
way and that way.
Right, exactly. I want to see her step count because I bet you it's a lot.
Girl. But yeah, she leaves the experiment and kudos to her.
I said, go home to your 4-bedroom house with the nice decor and the blackout curtains.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Anyway, I guess he talks to Connor about it. He's like, well, you know, if she feels she can't be with me because of how I feel, you know, I'm not 90. I want to be attracted to the person. That's where he gets very ruthless. I'm not 90. I want to be with somebody for the next whatever years. I want to be doing da 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 da. Okay.
And that's where I'm like, he gets real mean spirited. It's something else. He did not have to do all that. And then you oddly sit down with Connor. So the fiance of the woman that you think that you claim you want, or you think in your head that you want. All very strange. And then when he first sits down, he's like, yeah, he tries to put it on her as though he had nothing to do with it. You know, it's the physical attraction thing.
And Connor gives him, I mean, I guess as good of advice as you can give to somebody in this type of situation, but he gives it to him, and that's that. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Bree and Connor, before, I mean, all of this is before they had the Pod
Mm-hmm.
Squad meetup, but they were cooking dinner, and she said something, and he was like, you're a little mean. You're being a little mean.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and she comes and she apologizes and she hugs it out
Mm-hmm.
with him. And then they get text messages from Chris and Jess. I said, what were the texts? Read the text out loud. Y'all can't just ding ding. Oh, it's Chris and Jess. Oh, what are they saying? We no.
Maybe they did say and they edited it out. It'd be weird that they wouldn't show each other what the text said.
Right. So at
So
least show us. Anyways,
mhm.
so they met Connor's family, and this is where I was reminded that Bree does not shut up.
She talks too much.
Oh, that
Way too much.
TV. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, but she said if it wasn't Connor, then it would have been nobody. I thought it was interesting. I think his emotional awareness is something that she's not used to, and
Mhm.
that intrigues her a lot.
Mhm.
Because I don't know what her dating history is, but maybe she's not used to guys who like that when she was being mean. Maybe she's not used to people who would say, you're being a
Mhm.
little bit mean." You know, maybe she's used
Yeah.
to people flying back, you know, like giving it back to her.
Mhm.
And
Or
he's like,
cutting her off, just breaking up with her.
yeah, yeah.
But
Anyway.
she seems to get along well with his mom and sisters, and the parent. They're happy to give him away.
Yeah, and his family and him, like, just seem like they're easy to get along with.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I think most people would have been just fine. All right, so Ashley and Alex, they're back happy again. They have this little golf date, and then his mom comes to meet.
His mom. Just kidding. I don't know if you saw what people are questioning if that's actually his mom.
Are
I said
they? Like,
yes. I'm
who
like
did
that
they
would be.
come over here and do this interview? That is hilarious. I have not
But
seen that.
mom or not, but she's cute with her low-rise jeans.
And
She
she's like,
looks
no,
good.
things aren't important, experiences are.
So I hope your retirement is prepared, ma'am.
To an extent, sister. Like, let's be very for real. Like, some things are very important. But yeah, experiences are as well. And it's finding that balance. Um, they talk about, oh, the water bottles. So I guess they talked about that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then when they get some alone time, Ashley talks to the mom about his ex or his exes.
And it gets confusing again. Once again, very difficult to
Yeah.
follow. And according to
And she
his
says
mom,
that
which makes
exactly right.
according to the mom, I guess because of honesty, these women weren't authentic. It just didn't work out. She's hearing her son's side of the story. His mom also confirms that he's still mourning this soccer career, and that she
Was
could,
anybody surprised?
right, and how she could see him, being a great coach and giving back. Um, Ashley also says she don't want to marry potential, then run
I
very
didn't even know that
quickly.
Alex has potential. Like,
Yeah, because say even if you don't have it all figured out today, I even think his lack of being willing to plan is going to get exhausting. Like
mm,
that person who's maybe easygoing and go with the flow and go with the wind. It all
that's
sounds
how Ashley presented in the pods, though. But she's
that is.
very different.
It seems exciting at first, but then real life hits where you do have to plan and put pen to paper on certain things,
Yes.
and you can't just get always get up and go.
Hmm.
So, huh,
She said it's hard to follow his story. I think the mom said that. Yeah, it can be hard to follow his story. Yeah, but that's not a good thing when you're trying to partner with somebody. Like, I need the story to line up.
time is not that complicated. Why is it hard to follow? This happened, then this happened, then this happened. It's complicated because he's lying.
Yes, a liar. Huh. Anyway, the mom said, like, yeah, he's not meant to do work in an office or anything like that. I need him to do something stable. Uh, Not to say that breakups can't be hard, but Ashley mentions that the hardest thing she's been through is losing herself in a breakup. And I was like, okay, interesting that,
I
yeah,
mean, she said herself she's lived a very comfortable,
yeah.
posh life. So that sounds about right.
Anyway, so after the mom leaves, she asked Alex about the past relationships, and just like he thought his grandparents got married at 13, he couldn't get the math right together on the women that he was with and when.
If a player gonna play, you gotta practice better than this.
I I was gonna say something, but
Like, not only are you lying, but it's like you're not even good at trying to make things add up. You can even leave out certain things, but he just adds in more details that
yeah,
makes him seem like a liar even more
yeah. So he said he visited his ex in Austin, but they're just friends. Um, you
for a
know,
week long.
they're just friends. He says, I can cut them off if you like. Anytime somebody says that, I'm like, I ain't cut nobody off. Let's be very for real. Anyway, she starts to put two and two together, and she's like, wait, so if you got the call for this show in this month, and then you were dating somebody in September, and then the thing happened with the woman in Austin, like there was some overlap. And he explains it as, oh, well, yeah, we broke up today and I was in Austin tomorrow. Okay, interesting. She says, you cope how you cope. I just want you to be honest and I want to make sure there's no like cheating. I wouldn't have been a you cope how you cope person.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
It's very shifty behavior.
Yeah.
And the fact that the way he described it, like, oh yeah, like we broke up and I knew I could get what I want, so I got on a plane and went to Austin. Okay.
And that was just September. And when are they recording this? I guess maybe 6 months later.
She better make sure he don't have no little Alexes running about the world.
You know, that's the one thing he wouldn't have. Because remember, he was a mistake and that messed up his mom's
Oh,
life. And so
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
but he don't know how math work, how periods work. So anything is
sad thing
possible.
is, it seemed like he knew a little more than she did. So, this is dangerous. What did he used to say at the beginning? Oh, you're so
It's
dangerous. Mhm.
dangerous.
Yes, because she doesn't know what she's ovulating.
Neither one of these people.
Okay. I don't have anything else on them.
Same.
Okay, Vic and Christine. She's from Hillsborough. They go to visit Hillsborough.
Next.
Jordan and Amber. Golly, Jordan and his sisters are triplets. You cannot convince me.
Hmm.
And the mom, they look just like her. Her genes are so strong. And they were just cracking up with one another at that table. I said, I'm glad they're having a good time because I wasn't following the jokes. I didn't get them. But
You know, they're roasting each other. It's all in good fun.
they're using their humor. And that's all that mattered. It looked like they had a good time.
I'm getting good energy. Jordan, don't disappoint me. Please. Please keep this same energy
They're all
going.
probably going to disappoint us at some point.
We're rooting for you. No one's perfect, but we're all rooting for you.
All right. And then Brittany and Devontae.
Okay.
So Brittany points out that he only compliments her on her clothes, which her clothes be cute. I will
Yeah,
say very cute.
she's beautiful. Her clothes are cute.
Mhm.
Beautiful smile. None of that
Great
matters to her.
personality. Like,
Yeah.
she seems like a great vibe. But yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know.
He
They seem to come to the place in this conversation where she's like, okay, I'll stop projecting and assuming that you're not interested and stuff like that. Which, if I felt like he was into her, I would love this resolution. I would love that they were able to talk through things and come to a place where each person walks away with an understanding
hmm
and an understanding of how they can improve. But I, with him, just don't know.
he's not into her, I don't think. He's not invested. I think he's just going through the motions to get through the process.
Mhm.
I don't think that she's projecting. She needs to follow her instinct and leave the process like Jess. Get out of there
Yeah,
ASAP.
that's had. I think the thing that gets people is they're not sure because it can be a little subtle.
Mm-hmm.
There are ways to explain things away, especially for what's his name?
Devontae.
Devontae. He did have the grandfather pass away, um, and he hasn't said anything negative necessarily.
Other than the hickey comment.
Uh, Ooh, that was quite obvious. But yeah, I think it's for her probably seeming so subtle, whereas for us it's like
Hmm. And you're
way
right.
more
She
obvious.
doesn't know the whole woman of no color
Mm.
or woman of color comment. So we do have access to more information. But I think as women, for the most part, when we know if a man is into us or not.
Yes.
And usually on these shows, when a woman is already thinking in that direction, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Heck, a man could be all over you like Chris was on Jess and still wasn't into her. So if you have a little inkling, you better take that and
Follow
run with
it.
it.
Okay. All right, and then we have Emma and Mike. Then we can get to the meetup.
Okay.
We can get to the meetup because I don't give a flying. I'm like, how many times are
Um,
you gonna say that? Anyway, um, Emma's family comes. Mike gets to meet
mhm,
them. Yeah, they talk about her personality, and I guess the women in the family all have partners who are grounders, like who ground them, and so that's
mhm.
really cool. Uh, ha. It felt like the sister came ready. Both of them, but especially that one who has the two kids. It felt like they came ready for this conversation. I think at one point somebody said, "Yeah, you don't have a maternal instinct," and Mike was over there laughing, but I'm like, I know that hurt him. I know he took one to the chest on that one.
Mhm.
Um, and they were talking about it so casually, but for him, it's not a casual thing because this is something he really wants. And so I kind of felt bad for him, but also, this is your sign. You know exactly what it is now, and maybe you can leave
And
before
they can come ready because I think she's always expressed that she didn't want kids, and maybe them being older than her, I think,
and having kids for.
and having kids,
Hmm.
they know kind of what the dating scene and navigating that as a person who doesn't want kids, what that's like. And so the sister who has the kids, what did she say? No, I don't regret them, but if I was to come back in another life, I don't feel like I would have to have kids to have a beautiful life.
Girl, someone
It would
online
just
was
look
like,
different.
"Oh, I can't believe she said that. Her kids are gonna see it."
But it's
maybe
true.
maybe when they see it, if like her daughter sees it, it's validation for her to not have kids, if that's not
Yeah.
something she wants. And maybe there's an understanding and an appreciation from her son if he's partnered with a woman who doesn't want to have kids
Hmm.
or decides to. Like, maybe he can show up better because his mom was honest. Like, I don't she never said she hated her kids. She didn't say again,
No.
she says she does not regret it. She just talks about how difficult it is as someone who wanted that life and actively chose it and continues to actively choose it, which I think
Yes.
is the person whose experience and perspective you want to hear.
I think people are just so used to maybe women getting to a certain point and regretting it or the what ifs. And they just assume that if you have kids that you couldn't envision it any other way, but you definitely had a whole life before kids. And so what she said was, if I were to come back in another life, there are other ways to be fulfilled and have a beautiful life, which I think is true. Like, I don't
I would hope so because not everybody has kids and they can still live
know.
fulfilling lives. So I
And
think
the
it's important.
season of raising your kids, grandkids are not guaranteed, comes and goes. It continuously shifts, so you have to be okay with finding beauty in whatever the next phase is. Like they could be existing on this earth, but they're not in their crib, they're not in your home, they're not in your state. They could be on the other side of the world, and then what?
Yeah. Um, she said, so okay, Mike got a little defensive here. And he was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, yeah, but do you regret it? But do you regret, like, I've never heard anybody say. I don't think he's ever heard anybody question it the way that Emma's questioning it, and anybody be supported in their questioning the way that Emma is supported by her family and her questioning. So I think for him, he's like, all I've ever known is this experience. Like his family said,
Hmm.
cousins grow up together. We're a family that wants kids, 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 kids. And I think when you come from that perspective, it can be a little jarring to hear the complete opposite.
Well, that and I think kind of a sheltered view because
Sure.
there are people who do unfortunately regret their kids, but they're here and they just move forward.
Okay.
It is a reality. Like it's a thing. And that's why Emma is correct to give pause. You don't want to be in that situation because it is a reality. So that's why she's trying to be responsible on the front end. So even though he can't envision it, that is what she's trying to avoid, I think.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And she's just not the one for you, Mike. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
And Emma, he's not the one for you either. Stop it. Okay.
And
And then later on in the conversation, which again is what's keeping this man on a hamster wheel. But Emma says, I know you're advocating for my wishes, but I can also change my mind. And I think it's a beautiful thing for her family to also accept that. She
mm-hmm.
can change her mind and
Good.
her changing her mind. But I also think saying that in front of him gives him some hope that maybe is false.
Oh yeah, she's still on this on the well, maybe I haven't made a decision, girl.
Yeah. All right. Now we can talk about the meetup.
Real quick too, I'll just say her parents seem pretty emotional about some of the things they're hearing about, I guess her reflections on her childhood and all the things that she's feeling. So there's a lot
Going on.
going
And they
on
they love her
there.
so much, and I think that was beautiful to see. And they talked about having that like special time with her after the other girls went
Hmm.
to school, and I'm glad she grew up in a family that loved her, but I think they also just need to accept, even for birth parents, there are
Mm-hmm.
criticisms that are gonna come, which if she hears it, she's probably gonna be like another reason not to have kids. But it's true. Like, you can't, there's no way around being criticized by your children, whether
Oh
adopted.
yeah. Her parents, I don't know that it was their first time hearing it, but they seem to be a little shaken up in the moment hearing
Yeah,
all of this.
yeah.
Yep, on international television.
Yeah,
We move on.
like who was that surprised their was it Clay? What
Mm-hmm.
did he do? He told his
That his daddy was taking him on the cheating trips.
yes, yes. So Love Is Blind is known for a good parental surprise.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Now the meetup.
Pause. God. Okay.
Were Emma
You want
and
to
Jack at
start?
the meetup? I just don't remember them being there.
I don't remember them being there.
But I'm
I
sure
s-
they were. Did she have on a
I
red
s-
dress at some point? Maybe it was at the meetup.
I start with Bree bringing up how Chris slid into her DMs. That's where my
Okay.
notes start.
Yes. Okay. I started with the girls gossiping about Chris, so I think it's about the
Mm-hmm.
same place. Then I call him short. Talk about how he bought followers online. It talked about his antics on his first night single, I guess, to go
Free.
to a club. Yeah. Um. Anyway, Amber clearly does not care for him and can't hide it. Not even trying.
And don't need to.
So he shows up and gets no love, and then just shows up, and of course, girls are girls.
Mm-hmm.
Like we
Body is
on it.
tea.
Right.
Hmm.
That is funny. Honestly, I don't know that I would have even acknowledged it, but it had to feel good to like show up
Yeah.
and and have the ladies support. Uh we find out that Alex and Priyanka are in the same friend group, but then he was
Yes.
trying to act, it's just this guy. His horrible lying. Oh, I think her name is Priyanka. I think her name is Pri. You know her, Alex.
And I want to know friend group from where because he's been all over. I wish they would have asked him. So Columbus
That's
or
what
he
I
does.
assumed.
Yeah. Priyanka, we need the tea.
We do, because I want to know what somebody online was saying. Watch her be the ex that wouldn't move away with him.
I hope not.
I hope not too, because I like Pre from what I've
Hmm.
seen, but anything could happen on these shows. Okay. So then Chris is like, "Oh, everybody hates me." He started a brand new Instagram, and then he gets in Amber and Jordan's face, and he's telling her how great Jordan is and all this stuff, and she's just tolerating him.
Mm.
I don't know. I guess we get back to the place where Chris is talking to Bree, Ashley, and somebody else.
Bree, Ashley. Who else was standing right
It
there?
wasn't Jessica. Was it Pre? Was
Yeah, I
it?
think so. It was.
Okay. So yes.
Yeah.
Uh so he's talking to them and he's trying to explain, I guess, why Jessica
Hmm.
didn't make sense for him.
And I wish they would have just walked away in that moment, but it is TV and I guess they have to organize these scenes, but he's doing way too much. He's giving way too much information on his thoughts around their intimacy, which
Throwing her under the bus. Like, that's mean.
as a woman, like the minute he would have, I already would have walked away, but as soon as he said that, I would have just walked off.
Yeah.
I'm not entertaining this because this is insanity. And that's why I felt like he was just being very mean spirited.
Hmm.
Nothing that Jessica did warranted for him to be doing all of that.
Hmm.
Why? He's trying to humble her.
They talk about how he's short and he's trying to compensate for stuff, which is possibly true. But after the ladies leave, Ashley and possibly Priyanka, if that was the third person there, so
Yeah,
sorry.
it was Priyanka, Ashley, and Brie.
Okay, perfect. So he mentioned something about the three of them getting together that night or something, and they're like, "We're gonna leave." And of course, Bree stays.
Mistake. Number, what number we on?
Lost count. Okay, so they have a conversation, and Chris is like, I like Connor, but he's very submissive.
Nasty work. The fact that she stood there and was just taking all of this in.
First of all, don't talk about Connor, because even if I don't marry him at the end of the day, he's been nothing but nice to me.
Yeah. What do you mean submissive? You don't know him enough to even make those types of statements. And the fact that she just either, I don't know if it's the way it was clipped, but it looked as though she just let him go and go and go and go and
Yeah.
go.
And what are we like? What are we defining as submissive? Like, what actions did we see in Connor? Because he's not trying to boss her around or treat her like a tool.
To lead her, guide her, push her.
And that's the thing. Does she need guidance? Like, I don't know.
Nothing about Brie gives me that she's looking for that. Like on the one hand, it seems like she's excited by Chris's adventurous side, but then outside of that, she doesn't give me. If anything, she needs to tone it down. Like, but she doesn't give me a woman that needs that's like, oh yeah, guide me, push me
Because she seems to
on
have
what?
her own path clearly defined, that she's
She
doing her
says
own.
she's self motivated, self driven.
Yeah.
So something's not adding up, Brie.
Mm.
What did he say? I could have turned up the heat on you in the.
He says, "Oh, Connor is the type of guy like, he's gonna say yes to you at the altar. He probably washes the dishes and cleans the house and stuff like that, but you don't need that." Pause. Why wouldn't I want somebody who washes the dishes and helps to clean the house? So
They're.
what he's saying is, I wouldn't do those things.
Mhm.
I'm better for you. Like, okay, Connor can do those things and offer other stuff. You're saying you don't even come with the bare minimum of helping to clean and wash the dishes,
Be a fully functioning adult and clean up after yourself. Be a partner.
and you're the better
You just be
choice.
there.
Right. And you're the better choice because you do ice plunges or whatever they're cold plunges. I don't know. Be
He
very
said you need an alpha, somebody your dad would accept.
that is somebody you should show your Charles Schwab account to. Okay. So you have your finances in order. Do you have a home? Like, I don't know.
But who's to say that
What
Connor's
investment?
finances aren't?
Right.
We don't know.
Don't know. And why would okay, so you think her dad would respect somebody who has finances together but wouldn't be collaborative with his daughter? Wouldn't want his daughter to come home to a clean house? Would expect his daughter to come home and do everything on her own? You think that's who her dad wants for her? Because you must think her dad has a low bar for her, if that's the case.
Right. And I wonder how she's described her dad to even make him think that he would be quote unquote the better choice. And who's to say she wants a man like her dad? Who knows? She picked Connor in the pods. And not only that,
Yeah.
what did he say about her early on? It sounded like she smoked so many packs of cigarettes a day or something crazy. Y'all didn't pick each other.
Yeah.
So the
For a
fact that
reason.
this conversation is even progressing is crazy. And then he says, I could guide you, I could push you. Before that, he says, he asks her if it's the best sex she's ever had.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that she stood there and answered that question is crazy.
Yep. Yeah.
She says, no, it's not the best, but it was good. So what? Are you expecting the best or you want the best sex you ever had?
Yeah, he said, I will never be submissive in my life. No, what you're saying is you're also not going to be able to compromise well. We don't need that. I don't like the energy, and I think, yeah, they're just gonna clash because Brie doesn't need you to like she's a grown woman, so she doesn't need you to tell her what to do and how to do it. Like, come on.
The fact that when they were leaving Cabo, she said that she could use a part three, and this, I guess, is kind of like her part three. She's something within her is yearning for more, I guess, connection with Chris.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I don't know why. It was, to me, this whole conversation was disrespectful to her own situation,
Mhm.
and Jess, supposedly she's cool with her.
Even her
I'm
saying like, "Oh, I can understand it. I can understand it." Like when he was
Oh, you have to
talking
see it from
about,
both sides.
yeah, I mean,
Girl,
girl,
say nothing.
there's a
Say
time to be
nothing.
neutral and a time to not.
This man saying it's the worst experience he's ever had, and you still
Horrible.
and you still are standing on I'm going to be neutral.
He's mad because she left him hanging and he thought he could be dominant and she showed him who's dominant by
Who's the boss?
right. Who's that? Dun, dun, dun.
But
Okay.
yeah, I think that's it.
That is all that. Y'all let
Mm.
us know in the comments what y'all thought about our crazy little conspiracy theories and all that stuff. And we will see y'all after the next few episodes. Until then, bye.
Bye.